Called the hope of American Counter-Strike, at just 15 years old, this player got signed by one of the top teams in the region, Complexity. Everyone believed in him, he was absolutely destroying his enemies, and he had basically everything he needed for a comfortable career. But one day, it all fell apart. And just like that, he vanished from the pro scene for good. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because you're watching CYBERSHOKE, and today, we'll tell you how oBo's career ended before it even started. oBo Schlatter is a classic example of a player who was noticed for his achievements on Faceit. Sure, he played in a few mixes and even showed up on Liquipedia and HLTV with them, but his main focus was always on improving his personal skill. According to our hero himself, he didn't have to do much to find a team. I just played Faceit Pro League and streamed it on Twitch, and then I was reached out by Complexity. But what made Owen so special was that he played, to put it mildly, incredibly well. At only 15, he was already dominating American Faceit, quickly becoming a star of the local community. The first person to give him a chance in high-tier CS was the founder of Complexity, Jason Lake. Lake loved discovering the talent of young players, so when there was an empty spot on his team for one tournament, he didn't hesitate to invite oBo there. 15-year-old oBo was a bit shocked by what was happening. One moment he was having fun streaming his Faceit pugs, and then the next he was being invited to a big LAN event on a different continent. Even though he was so young and totally new to big-time esports, oBo didn't lose his head. He showed some outstanding CS throughout the entire tournament, and in the final match against MIBR, he even became the best player. It was his great playing that helped Complexity defeat legends such as coldzera, Fallen, Taco, and Fur. And after that tournament, Owen fell in love with Complexity, and luckily for him, the feeling was mutual. Jason Lake knew his old American squad couldn't even break into HLTV's top 10, so he put his faith in 16-year-old oBo. It took Lake some time, but after a few months, he finally put together a strong team of young, energetic players. This happened in November 2019, marking the start of the best period of oBo's career. Complexity started making history. Starting at number 65 in HLTV rankings, this team of young talent quickly climbed up the charts, showing amazing results. By February, they were in the top 30, and by the start of summer, they'd already cracked the top 10. Suddenly, they became the stars that everyone in the American community was talking about, and Jason Lake became one of the most well-known team founders, thanks to his bold choices of putting together such an unexpected lineup. So the future was looking bright for Complexity, with many analysts predicting that they'd crack the top 5 by the end of the year. But everything came crashing down because of one small detail we hadn't mentioned until now. In 2020, the whole world went into lockdown, and the different regional scenes in CS all got separated from each other. American teams couldn't fly to Europe several times a year to play at big events like before. LAN tournaments were strictly prohibited, and the whole scene was indefinitely moved to being fully online. For Complexity, a team that had 3 European players, it meant only one thing. The team was forced to stay where most big tournaments take place. And of course, that means Europe. And you may be thinking, well, what's the big deal with that? Live at boot camp, develop your skills, and win trophies. Easy, right? Well, folks, you've got to understand that everyone's different. And oBo, who wasn't even 18 at the time, just wasn't ready for this challenge. Not long ago, Owen was just streaming Faceit pugs from his parents' house. He had agreed to go to Europe for just one tournament, but now he found himself indefinitely stuck in a foreign country during a pandemic. It stressed him out, and he didn't feel safe. In interviews, he often said he didn't sign up to live in a completely different part of the world. For regular viewers, oBo was one of the main stars of Complexity. He wasn't even 18 yet, but he was already taking down top teams, and he became a favorite among analysts, who predicted a bright future for him. oBo's technical skills were just so impressive that some of his highlights are simply unreal to watch.
Don't get the kill, but they still want to go for it. oBo going to be standing up, tapping for the smoke. That's so much damage already, and now they're done. oBo spraying 4 people down, but the calm with which he did it.
But inside, he was uncomfortable, and each day in Europe was taking more and more of a toll on him. And as you might have guessed, at one point, he simply ran out of steam. In September 2020, Complexity took part in ESL Pro League, which was in a closed studio format. Before the event started, oBo let his teammates know that he would be flying home for an indefinite amount of time. It wasn't easy for them to hear that they would be losing one of their best players, but they understood and accepted his decision. Everyone knew that Owen never signed up to live in Europe permanently. Jason Lake promised to help him find a new team, and oBo was going to fly home as soon as the tournament was over. It seemed like the situation was all set. oBo just had a few more matches to play for Complexity, then he could head home. But right in the middle of the tournament, something strange happened. That day, the team qualified for the playoffs and was about to play their first match, but Owen bought a plane ticket and flew back to America early in the morning. Complexity was shocked by this, and the community turned on him. Like what happened to Careby, we've got a video about his case too, he was called a traitor. So what did oBo do? Well, he disappeared for half a year. Owen tried to restart his career with Evil Geniuses, but things didn't work out so well. His teammates weren't as strong, he didn't have as much motivation, and North America as a whole became a weaker region in Counter-Strike. After leaving EG in November 2021, oBo went inactive, and as we're making this video, his break has now lasted for 3 years. There have been rumors that he's facing personal struggles, he's posted strange and even unsettling photos, and ignored teammates who were just trying to check in on him. It's also known that there was a conversation between Jason Lake and Owen's parents, though the details of it remain private. According to Sponge, oBo will definitely not return to professional Counter-Strike. So to wrap up oBo's story, he had a bright and unforgettable career, but unfortunately it was very short-lived. What he's up to now is a mystery. So we'll leave that for you to discuss in the comments. Do you think Owen will ever make a comeback? Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you never miss the best esports content. See you in the next one.